There comes a moment in every life when the world grows silent. A moment when distractions fade, noise dissolves, and a single truth rises from within like a voice you've been trying to hear your entire life. A truth that whispers, then demands, then commands. Decide. Decide who you will become. Decide what you will pursue. Decide what matters enough to give your life to. Because nothing, absolutely nothing, changes until the mind becomes anchored to one unshakable purpose. Every transformation begins in the invisible realm of thought. A single idea so powerful, so consuming, so undeniably yours that it reshapes the world around you. This is the power of a mind locked onto a definite major purpose. This is the power that built empires, launched revolutions, cured diseases, shattered limits, and lifted ordinary men and women into immortality. The world remembers those who decided, and it forgets those who drifted. Look closely at every giant in history. The inventors who refused to sleep, the dreamers who refused to settle, the leaders who refused to break. They were not superhuman. They were not born with a map or a guarantee or a perfect plan. They simply made a decision so firm that the universe itself began to rearrange around it. And so the question becomes, what happens when you focus your mind on one unshakable goal? What happens when you stop scattering your energy, stop negotiating with your doubts, stop living half committed, half awake, half alive? What happens is simple. Your life becomes unstoppable, because the moment you choose a purpose, everything else falls into alignment. Your thoughts, your habits, your emotions, your choices, your circle, your environment, even your identity. A mind with a single aim has the force of a laser, quiet, controlled, and capable of cutting through anything. But a mind without direction, it is a candle in the wind. And so we begin, not with the outside world, not with circumstances, not with luck, but with the only place real power has ever lived. The mind. When the mind commands, the world obeys. When the mind hesitates, the world resists. When the mind believes, the world expands. And when the mind focuses, the world transforms. This is the story of that transformation. A focused mind is not born. It is forged. Forged in the fire of decision. Forged in the silence of reflection. Forged in the discomfort of sacrifice. Forged in the courage to eliminate what doesn't belong. Edison did not light the world because he was lucky. He lit it because he was willing to fail 10,000 times, 10,000 attempts aimed at a single goal. He wasn't experimenting with 100 ideas. He was refining one. Carnegie didn't become the steel titan because he was the richest to start. He became the richest because he learned the power of concentration, focusing every resource, every dollar, every relationship, every breath on one dominating aim. Disney didn't build a global empire because he had resources. He built it because he had vision. So vivid, so alive, so unshakable that he could walk through an empty lot and see an entire world of magic already built. And Lincoln had every reason to quit. Loss, defeat, heartbreak, humiliation, failure, again and again. But he held his purpose like a torch through a storm until the storm had no choice but to bow. The world does not yield to talent. It yields to focus. The universe does not respond to scattered intention. It answers unwavering conviction. Your life is shaped not by the choices you make occasionally, but by the decision you refuse to let go of. So you ask again, quietly, honestly, courageously, what is the one goal your soul refuses to forget? A mind focused on one purpose becomes magnetic. It pulls opportunities that others call coincidence. It attracts resources others say arrived by luck. It draws people, ideas, solutions, and inspiration as if the world itself is conspiring in your favor. This is not magic. This is alignment. When you know what you want, you speak differently. You move differently. You carry yourself differently. You filter out the unnecessary, the distracting, the irrelevant without feeling guilty. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. And slowly, the world begins to mirror your intention. Because a human being who knows what they're after is rare. Rare enough to be respected. Rare enough to be followed. Rare enough to be underestimated, until they can't be ignored. But understand this, a focused mind requires discipline. Not the discipline of forcing yourself through misery, but the discipline of remembering what matters. The discipline of returning your attention to the goal, again and again, especially when life tries to scatter your energy in 1,000 directions. The modern world is built to divide your attention. Notifications, opinions, comparison, instant gratification, the constant urge to be everywhere except where your purpose is calling you. That is why clarity is your greatest weapon. You cannot focus on a fog. You cannot pursue a blurry dream. You cannot commit to something you have not defined. Clarity is the backbone of power. Clarity is the birthplace of courage. Clarity is the shield that protects you from distraction. And clarity only comes when you ask yourself the real questions. What do I want? Why do I want it? Who must I become to have it? What must I let go of? And what will I no longer tolerate? These are not small questions. They are the chisels that carve destiny. Once you know what you want, belief becomes the engine of your movement. Belief is not wishful thinking. Belief is not optimism. Belief is the internal conviction that something will happen, not because it's guaranteed, but because you've already committed to making it real. Belief sharpens focus. Belief fuels persistence. Belief turns effort into inevitability. Every great achievement in history began with a belief so irrational, so unreasonable, so impossible, that the world laughed, until the world applauded. The Wright brothers believed humans could fly. Ford believed he could build a car ordinary people could afford. Oprah believed she could rewrite her life. Jobs believed he could put 1,000 songs in your pocket. Hill believed the mind could create wealth long before science proved it. The world calls it delusion. Until it becomes reality, you must learn to hold the vision even when the path is invisible. You must learn to trust the process even when progress is small. You must learn to persist even when the crowd stops cheering. Because belief is not loud. Belief is silent, steady, and deeply personal. It is the whisper that says, keep going, long after motivation has faded. It is the flame that refuses to die even when the winds of doubt are strongest. And it is belief that transforms a goal into destiny. But belief without discipline is fantasy. Discipline is the doorway through which purpose enters reality. You cannot have a focused mind without rituals. You cannot build a new future with old habits. You cannot pursue greatness with the routines of the average. Discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. Freedom from the old self. Freedom from weakness. Freedom from drifting. Freedom from regret. When you discipline your mind, you command your life. When you discipline your time, you command your results. When you discipline your habits, you command your future. The world will try to distract you. Your comfort zone will try to seduce you. People who lack purpose will try to pull you into their chaos. But a disciplined mind does not negotiate with excuses. It does not entertain self-doubt. It does not drift into emotion-driven decisions. It listens to one voice. The voice of purpose. Discipline transforms focus into progress. Progress transforms belief into momentum. Momentum transforms effort into achievement. And once momentum begins, it becomes almost spiritual, an energy that carries you forward, a force that seems to pull you toward your goal even on your hardest days. This is why disciplined people appear lucky. They simply stayed long enough in the game for the universe to open doors others never reached. Action is where everything becomes real. A focused mind without consistent action is a dream. But a focused mind combined with relentless action is a fate sealed into existence. Not massive action once. Not emotional action when motivation peaks. Not desperate action when life breaks down. But small, daily, disciplined steps, taken with intention, taken with belief, taken with the awareness that progress compounds. Every page read strengthens the mind. Every workout strengthens the body. Every skill practiced sharpens the future. Every hour of work compounds into mastery. You don't need to be great today. You just need to be consistent. Because consistency has a power that talent envies. The world doesn't reward the person who starts fastest. It rewards the person who refuses to stop. This is how mountains are moved. This is how legends are built. This is how the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Action turns thought into things. Action turns desire into results. Action turns potential into purpose. And when your actions align with an unshakable goal, life shifts. People feel your energy. Opportunities notice your presence. The right circumstances begin to appear. Not because the universe is magic, but because you are finally aligned. The world changes the moment you change. Truly change, not in theory, not in mood, but in identity. Because when you pursue one unshakable goal with everything inside you, you stop behaving like the old version of yourself. Your decisions evolve, your standards rise, your environment shifts, and slowly, the life that once felt impossible begins to feel inevitable. But this transformation comes with a price. You must let go of the person you were trained to be, your doubts, your fears, your excuses, your limitations, your past. You must release the patterns that kept you small, the voices that kept you stuck, the habits that kept you average. Because you cannot become someone new while clinging to who you used to be. This is why most people never reach greatness. Not because they are incapable, but because they are unwilling to shed the version of themselves that no longer belongs in their future. Growth feels like loss at first. Discipline feels like discomfort. Focus feels like isolation. Purpose feels like pressure. And commitment feels like sacrifice. That is why success is rare. Only a few understand that the pain of growth is far lighter than the weight of regret. The world celebrates the results but never sees the process. They point to the moment a man or woman breaks through and call it luck. But those who understand know the truth. Breakthrough happens long after the decision is made. Breakthrough is merely the effect of thousands of invisible choices. Breakthrough is what happens when focus becomes identity. Consider Henry Ford. Before the world admired him, before the Model T reshaped civilization, he faced rejection after rejection. Bankers laughed. Investors doubted. Engineers quit on him. Failure visited him so many times it became a familiar face. But Ford possessed one uncommon advantage. He did not scatter his mind. He was not chasing 10 opportunities. He was not trying to impress everyone. He was chasing one purpose with relentless obsession. To put the world on wheels. And because his mind held one direction, one vision, one enduring goal, every setback became a stepping stone. Every rejection became fuel. Every delay became refinement. A mind focused on one purpose does not break under pressure, it sharpens under pressure. Pressure becomes the forge. Adversity becomes the teacher. Obstacles become the architects of strength. You must learn this truth. The moment you set a definite goal, life will test your commitment to it. It will check whether your desire is real or merely a wish. It will place resistance in your path to strengthen you, not to stop you. Adversity is the gatekeeper of destiny. And persistence is the key. Those who quit never unlock the door. Those who hesitate never turn the handle. Those who doubt never take the step. But those who persist, those who continue marching, bruised but unbroken, walk into a future the average never taste. It is in your darkest hours that your focus matters most. Anyone can stay committed when life is easy. Anyone can be motivated when results are flowing. Anyone can believe when the world applauds. But the world belongs to those who keep going when the applause dies. Those who remain focused when the path is unclear. Those who advance when fear whispers, turn back. This is where resilience is born, not in comfort, but in challenge. There is a story of Abraham Lincoln that speaks to the raw truth of resilience. Long before he became the leader who preserved a nation, life dealt him blow after blow. Business failures, political defeats, personal tragedies, loss so deep it could have ended him. But Lincoln held one quiet purpose: to serve, to lead, to contribute something meaningful to the world. He didn't know when it would happen. He didn't know how it would happen. He didn't know if the world would ever accept him. But he held the vision. He held the purpose. He held the focus. And eventually, life yielded. The lesson is simple. When your mind grips a goal with unwavering conviction, the timeline no longer matters. The obstacles no longer intimidate. The doubts no longer dominate. The purpose becomes your compass. And resilience becomes your shield. Resilience is not the absence of hardship, it is the refusal to be defined by it. Resilience is the decision to rise again and again until the mountain has no choice but to surrender. But resilience alone is not enough. You must also learn adaptability, the art of bending without breaking, adjusting without abandoning, shifting without losing direction. The most successful people are not the strongest, they are the most adaptable. They pivot, refine, rethink, and reinvent while staying loyal to the core purpose. They change the method, not the mission. They change the strategy, not the standard. They change the path, not the destination. Walt Disney understood this deeply. Before the world knew his magic, he faced bankruptcy, betrayal, and the loss of everything he built. His characters were stolen. His first studio was taken from him. His dreams were crushed again and again. But Disney adapted. He learned. He innovated. He kept the vision alive even when the world tried to bury it. "If I can't go through the door," he once said, "I'll go through the window. And if the window is closed, I'll knock a hole in the wall." This is the power of adaptability. This is the power of a mind fixed on one purpose. This is the power of refusing to let circumstances dictate your destiny. When your goal becomes unshakable, your identity must evolve to match it. You cannot take an old mindset into a new future. You cannot build a masterpiece with the tools of your past self. Identity is the silent architect of achievement. If you see yourself as average, you will behave average. If you see yourself as inconsistent, you will act inconsistently. If you see yourself as powerless, you will chase comfort instead of purpose. But when you begin to see yourself as someone destined for more, someone capable, disciplined, focused, dangerous to mediocrity, your actions rise to meet the vision. Identity creates discipline. Discipline creates habits. Habits create results. And results reinforce identity. This cycle can work against you or for you. The choice is yours. The moment you decide who you are, everything else aligns. So ask yourself, who must I become to achieve the goal I want most? Not what must you do. Who must you become? Because becoming precedes achieving. Identity precedes destiny. Mindset precedes manifestation. Every great transformation in human history began inside the mind long before it appeared in the world. When Carnegie visualized steel running through the veins of a nation, it existed first in his imagination. When Edison envisioned light filling every home, it existed first in the theater of his mind. When Hill envisioned the philosophy that would change millions of lives, it lived first in his belief. You must create the vision long before the world sees the reality. Visualization is not daydreaming, it is preparation. It is mental rehearsal. It is the mind aligning with the destiny you are building. When you visualize consistently, something extraordinary happens. Your nervous system stops treating the goal as foreign. Your mind stops resisting the future you desire. Your actions begin to reflect the identity of the person you see in your mental picture. This is why champions visualize victory long before the competition. This is why creators imagine the masterpiece before touching the canvas. This is why leaders picture the impact before influencing the world. The more clearly you see it within, the more naturally you pursue it without. But visualization alone is not enough. Gratitude must anchor you. Gratitude is not passive. It is not soft. It is not sentimental. Gratitude is fuel. The reminder that you are equipped, capable, and resourced in ways the old version of you could never understand. Gratitude sharpens focus. It reduces fear. It eliminates entitlement. It turns challenges into opportunities. It keeps your purpose rooted in strength, not scarcity. When you practice gratitude, you stop complaining about obstacles and start appreciating the chance to grow through them. Gratitude does not weaken ambition. It strengthens resilience. It transforms your mindset from, "Why is this happening to me?" to, "This is shaping me for what I asked for." And that shift, that subtle, powerful shift, changes everything.